So welcome all to the full-time session today around getting your season set up. We expect the session to last roughly about an hour. It might be a bit shorter, it might be a bit longer. It depends on how quickly we can get through the demonstrations. There will be opportunities to ask questions later on in the session. You will have a chat function on Teams at the top where you'll be able to just type any questions in there, and we will get round to making sure we answer them all. We may group some into the Q&A session, but I am also aware there is quite a few County FA staff on there who may also jump in and answer some of the queries if they know the answer as well. So feel free, if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat. This session is recorded. So what you'll find is after this, we will share it on our social medias, on YouTube and on the knowledge base, which I'll show you later on how to get through. So just a quick introductions. I'm Lee Moran. I'm the digital customer service trainer. My job is hopefully tonight just hosting this, but I am the trainer. I work across all the counties supporting them and also delivering sessions like this to all our clubs and leagues. And I'm joined by Andy Stickler, who is the residential full-time expert. So he is the guru. He runs too many leagues for me to know, and he knows full-time inside out. So he will be taking through all the full-time bits and all the demonstrations. There is 2 live demonstrations today where we will be jumping into the system. So if you do find it flickering a little bit or might be a little bit slow, please don't worry about it. It will be because we are just demonstrating live, and just bear with us as we work through it. The agenda for today, so what we're going to look at first bits, we're going to look at the new competitions portal and the structure in there and a couple of the enhancements, just to get you ready and so you understand how you would do the pre-bit in getting all your teams and divisions set up before you move into full-time, when Andy will take over and show you all the changes, how to integrate, and then a full demo of the key areas. Just to note, we are not, forget I'm not just in Yorkshire, we are not covering the advanced fixtures. That is a whole different session which is available online, which I can share the link later. It's just separate out of this because it is quite a big topic to cover, is the fixtures. So we'll share that later, and then after this we'll show what support we have going forward. So to get us going, what we're going to do is jump straight into a live demonstration, which is always great, of the competitions portal. So it's like I prepared earlier. So this is competitions portal. I am in the test environment, so it is a slightly different URL. So it has this PP on it, but you guys should know it as just competitions.fa.com. And you go in there and you probably all know it by now because we've done player registrations for 2 seasons now. So you're used to going in there and adding your players in. But there's a few new tabs which have been added in to improve the service and actually move away from the whole game system into competitions portal. The first things we want to show you is, if you will remember, as part of your league sanctioning, you would have to complete the divisions and the teams sections in whole game. This is now moved across the competitions portal, so you will do everything in here. And it's just in competitions, and then what you'll see straight away is your divisions and cups. Nice and simple and easy. It will list all your divisions which were active last season, so had teams in it and are active. So we've already pre-populated a lot of information across from whole game system into competitions portal for you. And you'll be able to go in there now and look at them now. You may have some which says information missing, which is absolutely fine. So what you can do, what I'm going to walk through, is how to edit a division. So you'll see just on the right hand side, there's a little edit function. As long as you've got no teams in there, you can edit everything. But whilst there's teams added, I can only update the name and the football level, but that is optional. So just go in and make sure all your details are selected. If you have a midweek competition, it's the primary match day, so that might be a Monday. It might be a Tuesday. It's just a primary day you're putting in. You can just go in and select that. And when you hit and saving and confirming, it just comes up. Exactly the same in add division. So it just asks me the same information. So I'm just going to very quickly populate this so you can see how nice, quick and easy it is to complete. And on football level, fine. And I can hit and save, and straight away you see that division's made. Nice and easy. You'll see once this little green banner's moved, it's got no teams in at the moment. So that is how you basically edit and create a division. To add teams to a division, all I would do is I'll go into my test. If I just click test, it comes up with this division details where you can see it's got no teams added in at the moment. What I can then do is you've got this add teams. Because I am adding teams within my competition, I'll just go add team. And what it will do, it will pre-filter to your division settings. And you can see straight away all the teams in my league are listed there. What I'm actually going to do is filter by no division. So everyone else is fine and set up. And I'm just going to add these 3 teams to that division. Perfect. You see straight away they are straight in added to that division. A few extra features, you've obviously got their affiliation status. So this status is their affiliation. If they're entered any League Cups and their registered number of players. But also if you do make a mistake, you can just remove them from that division. Nice, it's quick and easy, and hopefully it doesn't take too long for you to update your divisions and sort them out. But also what you do have, if I go and add a team from another division, what it does, it pops up with this another message saying they're currently in a division. Do I want to remove them from that division? Some youth leagues may have what they used to be called development leagues, where you can be more than one division. So I might untick that and confirm they will be in both divisions now. So just be careful, as some leagues you're wanting to come out of that division into the correct one. Some you may want them in both for the purposes of like youth leagues who may have an autumn, spring, summer leagues. But just be careful that it will default to remove. We can then see if I went in and I had my league's summer division is actually not running, I can remove all teams, and you see straight away I can now delete that division. I can have a cleanup of my information, no longer making inactive and hidden there. You can now just remove them. So just keep your leagues as clean as possible on this system. Makes it easy for yourselves when you're sorting everything out. The next bit is cups. So cups is exactly the same. So nice and easy. So I'll just create a quick cup. Save that. And exactly the same, I would click into that cup. And again, I can add the teams to the cup. The advantage is if you have a competition, a team what plays in another competition, wanting to enter your cup, you can click this add external team. And what it will do, it will let you search for teams within that county fair, and you can change county fairs and add into your cup. So it could be that they play in another league but play in your cup. You're able to do that nice and easily. What I also forgot to mention around divisions is if I'm in and I want to add an external team, again, you do the same, you can search, but what it won't allow you to do, if they are already in another league, you cannot add them to your league. But you may have, for example, I know it's another Veterans League, but under sevens, they forgot to put their league in when they're affiliating. I can now add them in and add them into my competition. So you are able to find teams who haven't put the league or forgot to put your league, just to make that process a little bit easier for you than previous years where you had to go to the county affair and to the club to get that resolved. So that is the divisions and cups. Very quick and simple. You probably learn quicker by clicking through it and doing it yourselves and starting to set up your competitions. The next bit we're just going to quickly cover over again is just your registration requirements. These were in last year. You're probably all used to them. You're all raring to go and set them up already. But what you can do is just go in and check them over. If you've only got one default, brilliant. You can edit it, change anything which it may have been updated in your AGM. You might be saying from your AGM, you need online consent now. You can update that straight away, or you can create a new one. I won't go through it to take some time. And then in your divisions, you can allocate which requirements you want them to have. So quick and easy, and I'm conscious that everyone has done this last season and are quite clued up with this, but it's just a little reminder just to check your requirements are accurate, and actually you've opened open registrations if you're raring to go, you put an end date, and just everything is correct. The final page I'm just going to flash up. It's just a Teams tab. This has had a bit of an overhaul over summer. So previously it was just a name and kind of the registered players. What you'll see now, it gives you a hell of a lot more information. So now you are able to see their affiliation status. So really there's no excuses for teams not to be affiliated by the time they're playing. You can see their accreditation status, so you are able to track that within your competitions portal now if you are an accredited league, along with the divisions and cups they entered. And a bonus which I've heard a lot is you can see which county cups that team has entered, if entered any. With this page, with it being, if you're a big league and there's a lot of information, the filters will probably become your best friend. Because what you're able to do, so I am able to filter by affiliation status. So nice and easy to see who's unaffiliated. Again, might come around to accreditation, and I want to see who is non-accredited. And I want to push them to get it. Brilliant. And then also what you will have, it will come up, you have your county FAs on there. And I believe it does filter by county cups, but none of these are entered in any. So you would have another filter for county cups, I believe. So you will be able to look at that as well. And then finally, you've got the Powers League. I know it was very frustrating previously where they were sat in no division and just sat in your league and you wanted rid of them. You can now get rid of people out of your competition. So you see they've now been removed from the competition. So you can clean up your information again and get rid of any of those teams who are folded and not informed their county and just remove them from your competition. I've just seen it pop up the team size filter. So this is where you're able to just basically filter how many each team has. So if I filter by team, no teams found. So let me just try this. 1 to 5. Maybe this is not working perfectly. I'll jot this down because this doesn't seem to be working as expected with the filter on the number of players. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working, but you should filter by the registered number of players, so you are able to check it. But again, just to kind of clarify that if you do have a cap, then use your player reg requirements. If you have a cap on number of players, use that to cap it rather than working it out and looking at the numbers and going back to people saying they can't have any more. Use your cap. It'll make your life much easier. They will be able to submit if you went over 20 players, for example. That was just a loose one because I saw it pop up on the corner of my screen, that question. That is a very quick covering of the competitions portal. And I'm sure there will be questions which we'll pick up after Andy's done the next demo, just so it's rounded up as one and we can kind of cover everything off. But I am also conscious the team will be answering them as we're kind of going along. So what we covered, we covered the competition structure. So all leagues can go do that now, can jump in and update their divisions, make sure they are right and start allocating teams. If the team were with your league last season, you would already be able to start adding them to divisions. Any new teams obviously need to get affiliated and add their league in, but you may be able to search them and find them and add them in. Player reg requirements is just a gentle reminder to go in and check because you will have players already registering. Nationally, we've already seen 100,000 register up, so people are doing it. So please make sure you are correct or you will have already pending registrations from last season's requirements if you've changed and you've opened it. So please, as a goodwill, just go in and check. Teams page, again, just to recap the update we've done where the information is nice and clear for you. So you are able to use filters and you're able to find all the information you need and clean up any teams you don't have in your league anymore. So just before we dive across into full time, and I'll let Andy take the reins and give his expert demo, we like flashing this up just for people to understand the kind of complexity of the FA's grassroots ecosystem. So you can see our hub is a lot of the whole game system, club portal, competitions portal, and my account. This feeds a lot of information to different areas of the system. This is why when you're integrating, it can take some time, and sometimes why there might be a slight delay on sharing of information between applications. So you see all we're looking at really today is the information coming from the competitions portal going into full time, which then also feeds match day. So that is a kind of aspect we're looking, but there is also wider areas of the business which is affected by how you guys set up your competitions, etc. like that. So it is a big system. There's a lot going on in it. But just kind of as an overview, that is what we base our kind of ecosystem off. What I'm doing now is flying over to Andy to talk us through some of the new features coming to or are in full time.
Thanks, Lee. So over the previous 6 months or so, we have come out to leagues through our knowledge base asking for people to prioritise what enhancements they would be like to see put into full time. So this is a bit of you said we did. So features that have already been added over the last few months is on the snippet tool now. A club can have a code snippet for a whole club feed. So instead of doing this on a team level, so under 11s on one page, under 12s on another, they can now have an API going across into their club websites which show all fixtures for a club, all results for a club for the next 7 days or so and the previous 7 days. Something else we added, and this was especially beneficial to myself, as Lee mentioned, I've got a number of roles, is being able to add a correspondence email address. So what this did was, for example, if you've got a club role and a league role or 3 league roles and you've got different email addresses for each role, on that league on full time, you can now add that email address and all those full time notifications will go to the specific email address for that league or club. It's previously, whatever email address you logged in with, all your notifications went to that email address, whether that email address was relevant for that club or league or not. So that helps tidy a lot of email inboxes up for a lot of our users. The referee download now includes marks of non-appointed referees. So as we know, fixture coverage at the moment nationally is about 43 to 47%. So for those 50+% whereby it's a club official or parent, etc., refereeing that match, the marks that are given by the teams at the end of that match will now come down onto that download for you. We've also made numerous improvements to the emails that go out. A lot of feedback was that they look a bit like junk emails, so people were ignoring them. So whether that was to regionally access the system or to approve their email address to receive notifications, and neither went into junk because of the way they looked, or people just thought they were junk. So I did a lot around that, including England football branding, and also stuff to do with cups, round, whatever round it is, etc., etc. So there's been numerous improvements to those. Another benefit for a lot of leagues is the public display names will now roll over from season to season. So at the start of each season, when you complete your integration, which we will come on to, the names that came across into full time were whatever that team was affiliated as. And a number of leagues changed that because they didn't want youth showing or ladies showing, or some names were duplicated. If you've made a change to the display name last season, that will now carry over into the coming season, so you don't have to repeat that task year on year. To ensure that appropriate referees were appointed for a fixture, especially in youth football, league admins can now see a referee's date of birth within the appointing part of the system. And following on that, also we had an issue whereby referees under the age of 16 could not log into full time due to a safeguarding restriction that was put in place, so couldn't complete those post-match reports for leagues. That's now changed to under 16s can now access the system in the same way that they access whole game to put in their discipline reports. And we've also added a child's name removal notice, so that just gives parents and carers the details of how to remove their child's details from full-time public pages through yourselves. So that was something we did. A number of other improvements are now being worked on, and they will come out hopefully prior to the season, or if not very early into the season, and those details will be shared with yourselves. So integration. So what is integration? Integration is a process that has to be done annually by all leagues at once, so all the systems linked together. So what data pushes it updates the season for you. So we'll bring in 23-24 for this season. All those divisions, development groups and cups that you've set up in the competition portal, which Lee has just shown, will come across with the same structure. All the teams will come across. Your link into whole game for referees, plus all those team administrators and players. Will come across. So any players registered through the competition portal will automatically populate into full time, along with all team administrators, which include the managers, coaches, assistant managers and assistant coaches, and team secretaries. What doesn't come across to full time is any club administrators, so club chairmen, club secretaries, club treasurers, etc. If they want access to full time, they do need to add themselves as a team secretary. One thing that at the moment doesn't populate into full time is venues still. As part of the affiliation, we know we've added venues as a mandatory requirement, and work is going on behind the scenes. So hopefully, eventually, that will automatically populate across into full time as well, going forward to hopefully make that work a little bit easier for you as well. But at the moment, you will need to search for those and add those into full time manually, I'm afraid. So moving on to the process. So to integrate into full time, you need to have started league sanction. That's probably not as vital now with the new system, but it just means that it started that process. It says on here, completed your league starting structure. We need that to be as far completed as possible. We know that's not always possible. For example, you may have, if you're involved in the National League system, for example, you may have divisions start in 2 weeks' time, and other divisions may not start for another 2 or 3 weeks after. We do like to have it as much as possible in place. That is because every time you change something, just send an integration flow from competition portal, from whole game into full time. And we just try and reduce the clogging up of that system at the moment, because it does slow down the process. So it's completed as possible, but any changes that you do make after integration will filter through to full time. What that does mean though is if you move a team out of a division and into a different one, it will still stay in the old division at the moment, but will show as inactive. So in the admin area, you will still see it in your team structures pages, but it will not show on the public pages. And you should email your county FA to start the integration process. They will just review all that is in place. And what they will then do is they will fill in a form that comes through to ourselves at the FA to do that integration for you. This does normally take up, we do normally say allow 3 working days at peak time. That's just because the amount of integration we have coming in, and we can only do so many at a time so we don't overload the system. What I will add to that at the moment is that we do have a problem with the integrations, and it is pulling through incorrect team information, especially into league cup competitions. So we have taken the decision not to push them through at the moment. Any that do come through will be worked in the order we've had them, and we will get them through as quickly as we can. But we've taken that decision because we'd rather delay that at the moment to avoid then work afterwards of league admins having to check all the divisions and cup structures and then message us to sort of try and manually correct them. If there is a reason why you do need that to go through straight away, because you do need your fixtures up because you're starting early, just let us know. We will push through the integration, but it will just mean that you will need to manually check that information as well. Just had a message in the chat saying how long. We're hopeful for a fix this week. We are reliant on development team just putting that in place. We do believe they know what the fix is. It's just putting that into place and pushing that through into the system. So hopefully not too long, because we know that you want to get your integrations done so you can get your fixture list set up and notify your clubs. I'm the same. I'm involved in numerous leagues, and I need to get that done as well. So I'm pushing on your behalf as well as my own to get that done. So I will now just share my screen tech control from Lee here, just to make sure I share the correct screen. What we're looking to do here is just go through some of the basic functionality to get your season set up. As Lee said, we're not going to go into the advanced fixture scheduler. That is a session on its own right and can take up to an hour, but I believe Lee will share a link to a session we did last year, because nothing's changed, in the chat shortly, so that if you do need help on that, you can just click on that and watch a session we did last year. So when you first go into the full-time pages and log in, it's exactly the same access, or should be once you're on the system, as what you've got set up to get into competition portal and whole game. On this main page, if you are involved in a number of leagues, there's clubs or multiple leagues, under this section here, you will get all the leagues listed that you need to have access to. And on here, you can change season. I'll go into 23-24 for this one because it has already been integrated. And what we just cover is some of these functions under the setup page first. So under league options, there is a number of options there as well. The first one to the team admin results and fixture options. This is what authority you give to those team administrators on what they can change on full time themselves with their access. They kind of change the status, which is whether they can make the game postponed, home walkover, away walkover, etc., or whether you want to control that yourselves. That decision you can make. And some of the options here, whether the home team and away team can change the fixture date, change the time, change the date status, which is option normal or to be confirmed, or change the venue. That is completely in your hands on how much authority you want to give to clubs. Obviously, the less authority you give to clubs, the more work you have to do yourselves. But on the flip side of that, the more authority you give to clubs, the less control you have of that information. Under approval and locking, this is about what happens when the results come through, either through the Matchday app or the SMS messaging service, or if people log on to full time directly to put their result in. So there's a number of options here, and effectively what it is do you want the result to show immediately on public pages and then correct them at a later date, or do you want to check them first before they populate the public pages? Again, completely up to yourselves. Advantages and disadvantages to both. Advantages of them going straight onto the site is that people get updated league tables more or less straight away. On the flip side of that is that if someone submits an incorrect result, for example, if they're the away team and they win 2-1 and they put the score in 2-1, it will come up as the home team winning, not themselves, and you may need to change that at a later date. But majority of the information will be correct. And obviously, if you want to go in and manually do them yourselves, it's the opposite of that, in effect. At least you know the correct scores and results are going up on the site, but they don't go up on the site until you've gone in and done that. And if, for example, if your person doing it is taken away and otherwise engaged, you can't do that, then teams are having to wait to see their updated league tables. Define the roles and security within your league. This effectively click on that link there, and this looks at all the roles that we have within full time. And what we have on here is there's default security for each role. As soon as you tick one, that role becomes active within that league with the default security. Click on update, and what you've done is once I've ticked those roles become active, you've got these buttons here to override. So within that, it will bring up a list of everything that can be done within full time, and the ones that are ticked are the ones that anyone assigned with that role can actually do. The default settings list what we believe the person with that role should be able to do, and obviously doesn't tick the ones that we don't want them to do. But as a league administrator, you can update that. So, for example, in this one, the fixture secretary, if you want them to be able to also, for example, maintain contact messages, if you just click on that, update, and they will then be able to do that functionality as well. Some of this is redundant if you integrate your leagues. So in terms of maintaining people, merging players. If you're integrating your league, that won't be done because the players will obviously come straight through from the competition portal for you. So you can go through there, add the roles that you want to add in, take out the roles you don't, and amend any security settings. What up to there's because I've overridden that one and changed that one slightly, it does come up here as overridden security, which informs you that that's not what we would recommend, or something's been changed. That button then just changes to edit. Click on that, and you come up with exactly the same options for that. Going back to your league options. Similar with fixtures, this is just a case of what you want to be done with fixtures. So do you want them to add attendances, and do you want county cup fixtures to be included on the public pages? That was something new we added approximately 12 months ago. So what that does now is county FAs that use full time to work out all their county cup fixtures. Because of the integrations, that can come automatically through to your public pages and into your scheduling tools, so that you know that those teams have already got a fixture. Didn't work perfectly last season, but we believe we've ironed out the cracks with that one, and that should work fine in the coming season for you. Match officials, quite simply, how many match officials do you want to be able to list for a game? Is it 3 or 4? The reason we say 3 or 4 is, and not 1, is we just give you the option of assistant referees, because you might want those for cup finals, but also gives you the option as a 4th official. And that just comes up with the boxes then. You don't have to assign 3 if you don't appoint 3. But it just means that you've got these 3 options there when you do come onto your appointments pages. Similarly, do you want assistant match officials to be marked by the clubs? And a lot of leagues on here probably don't have assistant referees, but if you do, then you can tick that box, and that means that clubs will then mark the assistant referees as well for you. All active dates, if you integrate, they come across automatically for you. Same as people duplication and merge default. So suspension options, at the moment, this is another functionality that doesn't integrate across from club and competition support and the whole game. Is something again that we are looking at, but at the moment, if you do want to add suspensions onto full time, you would need to do this manually from that lovely league report that you get on a regular basis, your league statement. And this would just show what does display on what pages. Key one, which is one at the bottom here, auto send team admin invites. So what happens at the moment is when you integrate, all your team officials and your team secretaries integrate across. But what happens here is you decide whether or not they get automatically sent an invite to be able to access full time, or whether you wish to process that manually from within the system. So if you tick that box and click on update, when you initially integrate, any ones that's listed with the team will come across, and they will be automatically sent an invite at that point in time as soon as we complete that integration for you. If you don't tick that box, what you would need to do is go into your people tab, your list people. It's probably not going to be a good one to pick, probably, because it's, oh no. And you would then need to invite all the people that haven't logged in already. You would need to send them an invite manually. Now you can do that by selecting all and then send now, or you can do that by selecting individual people and then send now. So again, it just depends if you want to only have certain people access the system, or if you're happy for everyone connected with the team to be able to access full time, to be able to do those post-match stats. So that covers that first league options. Logos, simply, we haven't got any teams listed at the moment, but you would be able to add logos into teams there to show onto the public pages. Your scoring system, we've got a default configuration of 3 points for a win, none for a loss, 1 for a draw and tie. and then obviously show scoring again. But you can change that if, for example, you do have something different. You can change those points, and in here you can also change the order in which the league tables are prioritised based on your league requirements. So points obviously first, then is it score difference, score difference, how many games they've won. So you can set up the table in exactly the way that you wish that to happen. We have got the points per games on here as well, which was something we added during the COVID seasons. Shouldn't be taken out, but they may still be relevant for some leagues. We haven't taken them out. That's just where you can set up your default on how you want those tables to be structured. Also, you can show which areas are shown on here in terms of how many, if you want how many games played, won, drawn, lost, etc. So if you are a youth league, for example, obviously under 11s and below, you can't show table details. So on here, you would set up a create a new. You set on there, and we call it something like development. Probably not spelled that right because I'm trying to do it quick. And you would just take all these options out, and the table then would not show. So you then be able to assign that into divisions on a future page. Your league here is just what your league is called. Season, this is where you can manage your season. So like I said, we've got the 23-24 for this league integrated, but at the moment it's hidden. We would recommend that you do that at the start, and that's what it comes across as initially. Reason being that as you do your fixtures, you probably don't want all your clubs to see the fixtures until you're happy that they are 100% correct. Once you are 100% correct that your fixtures are okay, click on edit there, untick that box hidden. It's now unhidden, and then you can make that your default season so that when people first click onto the public pages, that will be the season that first gets shown to them. Your divisions here is where you just set up what divisions you've got. This will automatically populate from the competitions portal. What you can do in here is edit this. You can hide all the players, which is again something that would need to be done for development leagues of under 11 below. Hide your score, hide your table, and this would be done for each division. On here, referees marks be entered in MOAS. This is for National League system leagues only. If you tick that box, what it would do is when clubs go into the stats pages, it would send them, and it will also remind them they've got to do that within MOAS, which is the Match Official Administration System. That's only for leagues at step 5 and 6 in the National League system. Next one to look at is your teams. So you have your season, you go all your divisions listed, and this will automatically then pre-populate what teams are being set up in your competition structures in the competitions portal. Again, you can add logos in here for each individual team. If you click on that, choose your file, that will then automatically update a logo, and you can edit the team. So this would be where you edit the team name. It's going to be on the public display name. Like I said earlier, if you've done this last year, teams that are currently within your league and staying with you, that should, all being well, automatically be carried over from last season, so you won't need to do that again. It's also where you assign your venue to the team. So we've got all these venues listed here. So if they play at that venue there, what you would need to do, and this is where you can do that. It would then list all the venues that they can play at. So you can obviously then remove any, or you can set the priority. So if they play at Diogen Wanderers FC second normally, but if that's not available, they can go to FA Demonstration Club first, update your priorities there, and that will be taken into account within the fixture scheduling. Team structure, venues, So this would be where you add venues. We are aware there's been an issue with this over the past week or so we do apologise for that. That was words of great shame. It's not a system that we look after because it merges from Pitchfinder, which is a football foundation system. But that has been fixed, and we have been testing that this afternoon and had some feedback from County FA staff and some leagues. That does seem to be working again correctly. So if you do need to create a new venue, you just click on create venue there, type it in the postcode of the venue. I'm hoping this does work. Obviously, we need to take that back later because it's still not quite working correctly, although there is something there. So, like I've just said, we thought it was fixed, but we'll just click on that. Might just because I'm using a demonstration league. But in theory, that should find a venue for them to be able to select in there. So we'll just follow up on that. Under affiliation, it is vital, especially with linking of match officials to your league. So you do need to make sure that whatever your parent county FA is, put in parent county, and then you can list them more. So, if, for example, if you are on the border, if you a league that operate right on the border, so where I live in Nuneaton, so we're right on the border. We're in Birmingham County FA, but they may have match officials travelling across from Leicestershire because we're in that area. It is important you put both county FAs on. The reason being is if when you come to add referees into the system through the integration, if you haven't got all those counties there, it will not show officials from Leicestershire Rutland FA on that list. So it's just important to list all the county FAs whereby you're looking to get your teams and match officials from in there. Everything under the setup. As I said, fixtures is completely another session because it is a beast in itself. Comes into there. Referees. So this is where you be assigned referees. So when you've got fixtures in, which we haven't got at the moment, but if I just change last season, get some fixtures in. So just click on the date you want to assign referees, match officials for, and what will come up with all the fixtures on a particular date that you can select, but you can change that again within here. And then you just add the referees that have been added into the system here. Like we said, we've set it as default 3. If you set that option early to 4, you'd have a another option here. But normally when you click on that, you get all the match officials that you've got on your list clicked in there, and then you can just make the appointment and then update. Simply view the official marks. We've got no officials on here, but in here you'll be able to see whatever marks the clubs have provided. And they will be listed. You can do it by single referee by searching for them in the drop down, or just by showing all referees, which should cover everything for that season. Results. This will be exactly what it says. All the results you've got that come into the system. Again, you can do this by date. So pick a certain date. I'll put that one there. So it will show all the fixtures that have taken place on that date. One tool here is if you like approving all your results, just so they can't be amended, click on there. It will come up here. Click on the box, you can approve all. Once you click on update, that means that the clubs and teams will not be able to change that result without coming through yourself because the results have been approved. So it just takes that away from the clubs and teams. So if anything needs to be changed to the result after that point, it can only be done by a league administrator. On this page, you also get all the options here. So if you have some doing your inputting stats into the system, you'll see how many started, bench, and it's just a quick option to see what if people have peaked their stats or not. And you can click on the view match returns, which will bring up everything that they've submitted. But if it's a quick way, just to quickly check that everyone's done those stats. And once they have submitted those, you will be able to lock those stats as well, so they can't be amended by clubs. Similarly, fast result entry, you could, if you put the results in yourself or someone can't get in, you can just go into this and input the results against the fixtures. There's that set up. A lot of these are now mandated because they're linked to Matchday app, so they can't be taken out. But there is some here, for example, that you can add in. So if you want people to record if penalties being missed, just see that box there, penalty save, rolling subs. But this gives you the option of what can be changed. If it's ticked, that's something that you can't control as a league anymore because it's linked with Matchday. But all the ones where you've got the boxes here, you can either select or deselect them, depending on what sort of stats levels you wish to obtain from your clubs. Table adjustments, if, for example, you do need to change anything, so if someone has any points deducted, this would be where you complete that task. Just create new, what needs to be changed, so a lot of this will be points, team it is, what the reason is, so maybe ineligible player, what date was issued, and points. So if you're taking points away, obviously it's -1 or -3, whatever that is, and then just create that, and that will show on the public pages. Now, quickly, I'm just conscious of time as well. So Cups tab is where you manage all your cups for the season, so the system will be able to do the draw for you. So if you create the cup, what you want it to be, keep it hidden while you're doing it, straight knockout cup, how many entrants you will have, default number of legs, so if it's just 1 leg or 2. And also, do you want the round to be pre-drawn? What this will do is if you click on yes here, once you've done that initial draw, it will show on the website. So as soon as the result of one fixture known, that team will automatically progress forward into the next round, and people will be able to see who they're going to be playing in the next round if they progress, instead of you doing draws at each stage. You should do that. Attach it with the confirmation. It will then create that because around 8 teams, so we've got a quarter final. You can then add it to certain things or insert round if you've missed one. Complete the draw. So you'll need to add your teams in first. We've only got 1 team in here to add. But then what the system will be able to do for you is, it will be, if you click on this randomly assigned draw entrance, it will automatically draw the round for you. One of the leagues I want to do that in front of the teams on the monthly calls so that people can see it being done. Others will just do that in the background, but the system will be able to draw that for you. Or similarly, if you want to do that manually on the assigned draw, on these drop downs, you just then pick up whatever teams you need. Once the team's been entered, it will be then removed from that list. Take that out of that team showing. People is another tool that you would probably need to use. So list people will list everyone that's come across into the league of either whichever roles you've got active, and it will just be able to see where the dates they are. Manage those invites to people who've got access. If they're saying they can't get in, generally speaking, they've probably not responded to that invite email, or they've not been sent it. If you've not got it, just send automatically. So if the saying it comes up with you've not been assigned to any league, or you've got no admin access to any league, and they come to you, it might just be worth checking this page just to make sure they have been sent that invite. When you search, you can search for a person by their surname. You would need to enter at least 3 characters in there for it to search, but it will then come up with everyone within that league. The primary contact. What this will do is everyone that's associated with the team, so all these people here are associated with these teams, and whichever one is ticked here will be the one that is shown on the emails as they are sent out. So when the fixture emails are sent out and the weekly reminders, whichever person is ticked here, it will be their details that go on that email to the match official and to the opposition club so they can make contact. So again, if someone's coming to you saying my assistant details are shown on the emails and it should be me, it's likely to be in this people primary contact page. Suspensions, this would be where you can create a suspension or list suspension or list any suspension that have been added that we said if you wish to add manually from your league statement. Just creating there. It will ask you to search for a person, and then it will ask you for the details for that suspension to be added. And there's some other functionality in it about emailing out, which we haven't got time to cover tonight, but all the information is on our knowledge base, which Lee will show you shortly. SMS, the primary function on here will be to add who receives the text messages at the after each match. So they will get this 15 minutes after kickoff to report the score. So it goes by division. So you go against whichever team you wish to add it to. Add new. All the people associated with that team will be shown. Now, if they've got a mobile number showing, you'll be able to add them. If they haven't, then they won't be able to list it. So I'm probably not going to find on here on this league. That would be where we've got no mobile numbers for these. But once they are added, you can add up to 2 per club at the moment, per team, sorry. Once they are shown, if someone wants to be removed, click on that name and you can remove them or replace them in that way. Similarly, if someone's saying they're not getting a message, you can put in the phone search here, search for 90 days or the last 7 days, type in their phone number, and it will show all the messages that the system has sent out to them and they've sent back into the system. If they haven't received a message, this is a quick way just to test whether or not that has been sent or not to them. Media is to cover off your news and anything that goes onto the public pages, and for the clubs to generate their code snippets. And your downloads, we've got all those functionality here where you can download. So the only final thing just to show on that is just the add match officials. So what I will say about referees, this league isn't integrated. If you go into referee, there'll be a add from home. What I'm just going to go is just go on to one of the leagues I'm involved with. If you go onto list people here, click on referee. You've got another function here that's add referee from whole game system. So if you're integrated and you're using a system like that, click on here. This will then show all the match officials that are registered with those county FAs that were listed on that affiliation tab. So all you need to do is you can search by the surname in there and then just create the referee. I'm not going to add anyone because this is a live league, so I don't want to upset my referee secretary on that league by adding anyone in. What I would say is if a match official is not listed on this league, especially in youth leagues, it is likely they are already in your full-time system, whether that be as a team administrator or a player. If that is the case, what you'll need to do is just search for them or go into list people, find them here. So I'm just going to use a team administrator for example. Click on edit, and then what you can do is add a referee role from this add new role button here, and then you just click on referee, create, and that will then add them in as a referee as well. So if they're not in that search from whole game listing, just check to make sure they're not already in the system in a different role, because that is the common issue we find with that one. So that is a whistle stop tour. Like I said at the start, full time is quite a big system, lots of functionality in there, but Lee's going to show you some, go through a couple of extra areas. I think we've gone through any questions.
Yeah, perfect. Just a one I've got for you, Andy. Just it's around primary contacts. Is there a default on who gets it when they're first added in?
Default should be team manager, I believe. It doesn't always work, as Lee showed you earlier. The very complex nature of our digital ecosystem means that sometimes the integrations don't quite work 100%, so it should be the team manager that comes through. But if not, you can change it quite easily within those primary contacts. Hopefully going forward this time next year, the integrations will be a lot simpler because we'll be bypassing the whole game. But for this season, we may still have those couple of hiccups.
Well, and there was one I was going to pick up, which was asked quite early on. It was around deleting divisions and the history of those and editing them. So if you do delete a division in the competitions portal, that is fine. It will remember all your previous season's history. What we do advise, though, is not editing, for example, an under 8 to under 18s, because then it will update that division name for your previous seasons. So if you are making a new division, then create a new division rather than editing an old one, just to keep your system clean and remember that division is that division. Hopefully that answers that question. And then there's one more Dave's just put in, which is an enhancement. So what we'll do, we'll also put in the chat the enhancement requests, Dave. So you can put that in there and we can send that off to the team to review. But also you can look at other enhancement requests in there as well, and like them. But I will share some links soon. If there is any more questions, please just fire them in the chat. I will just cover off the last few bits because I'm conscious there's only a couple of minutes left. But please just fire any questions into the chat. So what's support and where can you find the key information from today? I am conscious, I know someone said right at the start I was talking too quick. We had a lot of information to cover, and I know Andy's covered a lot of content there, and sometimes it's just a bit too much information to take in at once. So you will be able to find all this information available on the Grassroots Technology page. Hopefully you're all aware of that site. It's kind of the central home of all the support you need around anything FA tech based. So that is all the systems we use, what was on that eco map. You'll be able to get support there, ask questions, but also find the guides and our YouTube videos of like tonight will be posted on there. So you are able to go listen back to us again and follow us at your own leisure, rather than how quickly we went through everything. Then finally, just kind of key takeaways for today. Is the main one is obviously make sure your teams are in the correct divisions before you do integrate, because obviously that integrate is a big upload. It's a lot of information transferring between a very complex system. So you want all the information in there so it all transfer across. And we will get integrations up and running as soon as we physically can. Like Andy said, hopefully by this week. And if we do get it fixed before the weekend, we will be making sure we run them over the weekend so everyone will have them. We will put extra time in to make sure everyone gets integrated. Next one, communication is key to your clubs. So making sure they are getting affiliated. It's completely open for everyone. They can get in there, get that sorted, get linked to your league correctly, and get everything so you guys can sort your league out. But also making sure they've got the right officials in place to make so when you are integrating, those roles are straight away there, and it just makes your kickoff a little bit easier at the start of the season. And then finally, on full time, what we just advise, if you've got 5 minutes after the call tonight, just go in, check your league options on full time, have a look at them, and make sure they are correct for you and you're happy with them. If you get them done now, you don't need to worry about when you're integrating because you've already done them well ahead of the game. So if I any top advice is jump on for 5 minutes, that's all it will take, and just check you are happy with your league options. And I believe we've got a few questions because I can see on my other screen. So let me scroll up. Referee availability, not at the moment within full time. It is something which is continuously discussed at the FA around referee availability, the likes of use of like MOAS, which the higher level referees use. It's a constant discussion, but it is something we do have on the roadmap to make sure we do and get that in place. But you won't have it this season, I'm basically saying, because it's a big, big job. Last season, we had the results of randomly overridden. I would like to think that is fixed. Obviously, it's quite hard to test now because no leagues are running. So we are confident that that should be fine. If you do find that, please just flag with us straight away through the Grassroots Technology. We can investigate it behind the scenes and stop that from happening in the future. But we believe it should be all fine. Integrations, yes. So once you are integrated, you can move teams around, you can add teams that will all update across into full time. Just remember, once you're integrated, if you have a team, for example, in Division 2 and you're moving them to Division 3, they will still sit in your back system in Division 2. So you will need to hide them from the system. They will say inactive if you've removed them from that division, but they'll still be sat there in your admin side. So this is why you want to make it as clean as possible for when you first integrate. And Andy's message replied about refereeing one. But yeah, that's all the questions. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was a lot of information. We managed to get it done within an hour. So thank you for joining and have a good evening.